Good morning, everybody, and a happy Friday morning to you. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Oh, what you ordered versus what you got. You get it. There is so much in here. Let's just jump in because we're going to be very busy. Let's get started. Let's go. We're going to start with Sophie, Secret Weapon Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. She attended a roundtable discussion on empowering women in the just energy transition at Marlborough House in London, which is the headquarters of the Commonwealth. That took place on April 23rd. Thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what she was wearing. Next up, we have Sarah, also known as the Duchess of York, and her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. They went to spend time with teenage cancer patients during a visit to a London hospital on Wednesday. They did a trip to the Teenage Cancer Trust Unit at London's prestigious University College Hospital. Remember, this is right after Sarah was given a clean bill of health after getting back-to-back cancer diagnoses. They spoke to several young patients there, as well as several staff members. Now, Sarah backed the Teenage Cancer Trust campaign on Wednesday and signed an open letter to the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, asking for teenagers to be considered in the National Cancer Plan for England. Sarah has been patron of this charity for many years, and in the letter she said most cases of cancer occur in people over 50, but when you have teenagers that go in, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, they're, fobbed off by health professionals despite multiple symptoms, saying the consequences can be tragic. And the Department of Health and Social Care launched a call for evidence to help shape a national cancer plan in February. They're hoping for a blueprint later this year to help transform cancer care, improve diagnosis, screening, and treatment, especially for teenagers. One of the patients there said he had been feeling unwell for months, and the doctor ordered blood tests, and the next day he was rushed to the hospital, and he started his fourth cycle of chemo the next day. So, that just goes to show cancer can hit anybody at any age. Now, I will say from my own personal experience, it does appear that there's more cancer since COVID. I don't understand that, but okay. And of course, a thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what both of the daughters were wearing on this outing. Let's continue. Next up, we have Princess Anne, who arrived in Turkey to attend the commemoration ceremonies of the 110th anniversary of Çanakkale land battles, and we'll be covering more of this on Saturday. But before she left, at her home at Gatecombe Park, Anne presented the Princess Royal and the Royal Dairy Innovation Awards, which celebrates excellence and leadership in the dairy sector. And finally, a few days ago, King Charles met with the Prime Minister of New Zealand at Windsor Castle. It looks like they had a fabulous meeting. All right, let's move on to the Harry Meghan stuff. All right, really quick before we get to the main story, I forgot to mention in the podcast that she had with the highbrow hippie woman that this woman is now a quote-unquote aunt to Meghan's children, along with Auntie Serena, because after all, she has no real family to step into that role. So, she's using her friends as aunts for the children. All right, now before we get into the whole times 100 thing, we just showed you the other day that they put out a picture of Prince Louis for his 7th birthday and he's missing teeth. So what's one of the first things that Meghan says when she gets up on the stage? Oh, Archie's about to lose his first tooth and I hope I'm home to see it. Yeah, right. Here we go. So Harry and Meghan arrived back in New York for this Times 100 summit where basically she got asked no serious questions. It was all promotion for her. And they showed up once again in a 4 SUV convoy, 2 bodyguards with Harry and Meghan were in 2 of the SUVs, and the other 2 SUVs were unmarked police vehicles, which I believe the city of New York is paying for. Your tax dollars, New York people, are paying for that because remember, they said that they were going to get extra security whenever they came back to New York and that this city is probably paying for this. Of course, the news people reached out to Harry, Meghan, and the police to ask, and neither one of them is talking. So that tells you right there that, yes, that's what's going on. So Meghan and Harry show up. Meghan pulls out of the car, and immediately I'm looking at this outfit. It's large, it's oversized, it's wrinkled. The pants are dragging on the ground, and I couldn't help but notice Harry's face. Harry does not look happy, probably because Meghan completely ignored him and went to hug this strange woman, whoever she is. And I'm not the only person who noticed that. As you can see, even the news picked it up. Watch Harry's hands. He goes to put his hands out and then realizes, I'm being ignored. And she just turns from him and walks into the building. So Harry puts his hands in his pockets and just follows along behind her. Now, as you can see, people are talking about the fact that security put their hands out to hold back the crowds so that these two could get into the building safely. There's just one problem with that. There were no crowds. There were some photographers standing around, and Harry and Meghan had a huge entourage around them, but there was no crowd. And also, what happened to we only go one at a time so that there's always someone home with the kids? Once again, they've left the kids home alone. Okay, so watch this. So they're walking into the building. This guy's like in. You turn around and there's nobody there. I mean, literally, the street is empty. There's nobody there. They walk into the building. Meghan gets ready to go on stage. They announce her. Notice her name is up on the top. There's music playing. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Now, I'm slowing this down for you. She walks out, and the woman actually does her hands like, come on, people, clap, clap, because she really didn't get much of a response. So they walk over, they sit down. Again, there wasn't much of a response from the audience. It wasn't over the top. And the first thing Meghan does is she starts fidgeting with her hair and making sure she looks good and sitting up and moving around. And then the conversation started, and I was like, ugh.
Meghan,
hi.
we're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
And I first want to just say congratulations to you on everything that you've done and everything that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a very full, it's been a full few months
Full
for
year.
sure. Yes.
The woman asks her, so how did this show come about? And she goes, well, naturally, I was just doing what I love to do. And people couldn't see that more broadly. But I always love to make things in my kitchen and do flower arrangements and make a lot of jam. And when I was sending one of those gifts one day, somebody said, well, there's a show here. And that's how it happened. She pointed out that Netflix came on for the brand as ever as her business partner, which was an extension of the evolution of their partner, and they complement each other, etc., etc. And then the woman says, how many people have seen the show? Raise your hand. And they didn't show the audience. And I have a feeling that's because a lot of people didn't watch the show. Then the woman goes, tell me how you care for so many people and about your joy and love. You get what was going on here? This was nothing but a let's kiss Meghan's rear end and let's get Meghan talking. Everything you do, Meghan, comes from caring for the people that are on your show and around you. You get where I'm going. She used her buzzwords, love language, joy, community, authentic. It was the same words she uses every time she speaks. By the way, in case you didn't notice, she's wearing her diamond pinky ring and she's dripping in diamonds. She also mentioned the host did the product line, and Meghan goes, oh yes, it's sold out in 40 minutes. No mention of the fact that they haven't been able to refund people and there's been no further products. Then you had the next question.
Have you not had on your show or your podcast? Who would you want to get and mention today?
Is this the hook? Is this the bait that we're putting out? I will say I have been so fortunate that even before the series had aired, in talking about what the premise was and how conversational and more relatable we wanted it to be, I was able to get legends like Alice Waters, who she's amazing. I just love her so much, and we've now become friends. Having her on the show, and also other friends as well who we haven't revealed things about season 2, and Ted will come here later, but I can apologize in advance for saying, Jose Andres is going to be on season 2. We love Jose so much. So I think my wish list has been, I've been fortunate to have the people that I want on the show. And if I think of someone else, I'm going to have to figure out a way to tell you so you could put that out there.
Perfect.
So she's telling you she's had the people that she wants. Forget the fact that they haven't been able to get any A-listers. No. Everybody she's had is exactly who she wants. Now, with this, of course, Jose Andres spoke out. An interview came out just timed perfectly with this interview. He says, I think the work Meghan does is great. She could be a person that goes into her own world and forgets about the real world. But what can I say as her friend? She's a friend, but she's also there in the fire. She doesn't need to be out in the public, but she's there. He then, by the way, compared her to Melania Trump. My goodness. He goes, I don't understand the fierce criticism that surrounds her brand. I don't know why that is. We should be in the moment of celebrating anytime anybody wants to do anything. So let's just celebrate what anybody wants to do and forget about criticizing others. Everybody should be cheering up everybody as just tries to do something. I'm like, are you kidding? Nobody's going to forget the fact that the way she's treated her family or the lies she's told or what she's done. Forget it. Now, with that, the interview continued. What are your confessions? You're helping females, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes into talking about her food. Believe it or not, they start talking about flour sprinkles.
Said flour sprinkles.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about flour sprinkles.
You would think it's like a little fairy if I could just be tossing them around all the time. The obsession that has come with flour sprinkles,
Explain
I was not
to this
expecting.
audience who might not have watched the show yet about flour sprinkles.
So I just, it sounds so, all things to be talking about for Time 100. Let's talk about flour sprinkles. Because I think it speaks to the tiny moments of joy that are so effortless and just create a little bit of magic that we're all craving in our everyday. They're tiny little flower petals that are dried. I started putting them on salads. I started putting them on scrambled eggs. It didn't actually matter. On a yogurt parfait, the level of charm that you find people have when they see these tiny little dried petals is something I can't fully wrap my head around, but I appreciate that there is a love for the detail and the small level of delight that can be added. So take flour sprinkles really as an analogy and think about what you could do in your everyday life that can just have a little splash of magic on unexpected moments.
So essentially, the entire interview was buzzwords, word salad, and self-promotion. Now, of course, and I think these were taken before the interview, you had all the obligatory photos taken. And I'm sorry, once again, Meghan's shirt, in my opinion, is unbuttoned too far down. I don't know what it is with her constantly wanting to show what little bit of cleavage that she has. Anyway, this outfit, in my opinion, just looks horrible on her. You should know the outfit she was wearing was Ralph Lauren, and not including jewelry, she was wearing almost $6,000 in clothing. I'm sorry. In my opinion, she did not wear it well. This is how you wear a well-tailored suit, in my humble opinion. Then, of course, you had the pictures of them coming out. Now, Meghan is willing to hold Harry's hand. You know, I have to say, I haven't discussed it in here, but how do you guys think they got to New York? How much would you like to bet they flew in on a private jet? Because you don't know any other way. If they were coming in on first class or whatever, they would announce it. But this is how it's going. I'm just telling you now. So they walk out. Once again, security. I think there were a few photographers standing off to the side, but there was not a big crowd, just like when they arrived. So they go to get in the car and somebody yells out, "Hey, Meghan, long time no see. Harry, Harry." And then they're putting Meghan in the car and somebody yells out, "Love your show, Meghan." And I'm thinking, yeah, if I'd been standing there, I would have been like, Meghan, do something. Like, Harry, get off the drugs. Harry, you better run. Harry, go home. I mean, why doesn't somebody say that or do that? What is the deal? Anyway, I couldn't help but notice again as she was walking out, the clothing and especially the pants dragging on the ground. Such a horrible look. I don't know what she's thinking. Now, Ted Sarandos also was interviewed that day, and he did speak about Meghan Markle. He said she's, quote, underestimated in terms of her influence and overly dismissed. Now, we've heard this from him before. He talked about her back in March. He also said that Netflix collaborated with Meghan's company as ever and with her show, and it's a big discovery model for them. He reiterated Netflix's commitment to working with Harry and Meghan and said that With Love Meghan was a huge success. You could have fooled me. He also defended Meghan against criticism by emphasizing her endeavors were not solely tied to her royal status, but driven by genuine viewer engagement and consumer interest. I have to be honest, he's trying to act like their contract is going to be renewed, but considering what they've done with Netflix, I just don't think that's going to happen, but he wants you to think it is. Now, he then said a few other things which kind of caught my attention. According to him, going to the movie theater is outdated and that they're not destroying Hollywood, they're saving Hollywood by producing TV shows. In other words, you should stay home and stay glued to your TV instead of going out into the world. I mean, that's essentially what he said. Because he's delivering programs to you in a way that you want to watch. He said that means watching movies and TV shows at home. He said Netflix is providing a service to Americans in rural areas who might not have access to movie theaters. And whether it's an outdated model to make movies for cinemas so people can watch them as a communal experience, he says, I think that's an outmoded idea for most people. So in other words, don't go to the movie theaters, don't go out to dinner, don't make a night of it. No, stay in your home and watch TV. That's what he's saying. Let me just reiterate, he wants everybody to think that Netflix is sticking with Harry and Meghan, but I got to tell you, between Live to Lead and Polo and all of their failures, I don't think it's going to happen. My goodness, you guys, you know what I want. Leave those messages, and you know that down in the description box is a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book that's still for sale, a physical address, and if you've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. As always, you guys, have a great day.